Hello. Thanks for tuning in. I figured, it's kind of hard to record our D&D sessions when I am the one who cannot attend them. Hard to remote record some one-shot action or whatever. But I figure rather than release nothing, it might be fun to go ahead and do another kind of chewing the fat, as we kind of have recently concluded another arc in our online campaign. So, this is more for anybody kind of following along, I guess, or more so the players and things, some weird tidbits here, kind of worth talking about anyway. The whole arc kind of took place in the Alliance Islands, which is, a smattering of islands, an archipelago, that word, you know what I'm trying to say. So there's just a smattering of islands in this, as this country as a whole, a bunch of independent nations known as the Alliance Islands that come together, and as such, it was a little less convenient for this arc, travel-wise, for the characters to get to every single spot on the map. Last arc that we had, actually 10 separate locations, places of note rather, and they got to 9 of the 10 locations throughout the 20 sessions or so. This arc taking 21 sessions. The settlements and points of note being a little bit more spread out on separate islands kind of made it a little less convenient for them to get there. So they missed a handful of settlements and things, which obviously it wasn't written for them to hit and encounter every single spot, and just kind of have like an open world kind of like option here. Giving them a little bit of leeway. Try not to railroad them too much. But yeah, I figured there is a few locations maybe worth talking about here shortly. First of all, let's talk about the economical locations. Tuscargo, the main city on one of these islands, is where they had the party cumulatively spent the most coin. A few thousand there easily, and but Tinkerer's Cove easily takes the cake as most coin earned. The party cumulatively coming out somewhere north of, I believe, 70,000 gold pieces. So as coming from a DM perspective, not only is my party borderline superheroes, but they're also super fucking wealthy at the moment. So fun for me, and more thought fodder, I guess. Got to figure that one out. Got to relieve them of some coins somehow, So moving on from this location, one thing the economic locations. One thing I did notice about this arc is that in very similar fashion, in-game time, last arc was just over a month, and this arc managed from the time they found Renwick's father's boat to the time they laid his mother to rest in a ceremony was actually only 32 concurrent game days, in-game time, I guess. So once again, another arc takes about a month to complete, but kind of weird how they lined up there. Aside from that, I kind of wanted to talk about a few areas that were options they could have traveled to, but just briefly, just the ones that they had kind of missed. So one area that was known that they kind of, the players opted to not check out is the Arcane Tower. A small village surrounds a large tower of stone standing over a dozen stories tall. The color of the tower's stone slowly shifts between all the colors of the spectrum and back again. The wizards there that call the tower home are known to be quite odd and quirky, but also friendly and helpful, as well as generally well liked amongst the village. The villagers' shops and taverns and inns help accommodate tower guests and assist the wizards when they can. It was briefly mentioned, but never really visited. Another place that was kind of almost visited, we'll jump over, was a place called Green Hill. It was a mostly cliff covered island. The northern side of, however, is exclusively beachfront. A modest dock overlooks a few warehouses and inns here. Long ago, this island was settled by halflings, and the town of Green Hill is almost exclusively a halfling community. Many farms and ranches amongst modest dwellings, though a small market and craftsmen can be seen here. So like that on that community was like sailed by. Party kind of decided last minute that they possibly weren't welcome there, and kind of moved on. Kind of a funny little, that's what happens when you steal a pirate ship and you kind of look like pirates. So after that, another area that was not explored was known as Daggerboot. This island with also many tall cliffs on most sides. The few beachy spots the island has are filled with docks. Many cargo ships frequent them all. Most of the surface of this entire island is covered with shin-high, spiky gray rocks, making travel hard and building structures difficult. Most of the buildings in Daggerboot are large warehouses for storing goods, bunkhouses for the many local miners, and taverns. Several local mine claims have been made and are being worked by very territorial and competitive companies, guilds, and nobles. Though there are few forges here, most of what's harvested is kind of shipped out raw, and they this kind of being the Alliance Islands like main resource for precious metals. Another area that was kind of overlooked, not necessarily visited, or just the party's travels just didn't have a need to go there, is known as Grumdug. A few makeshift docks can be seen near a small dwelling or two on this island, but this island is mostly swampland and is dangerous in and of itself. But the local orc clans that populate the island are also known to be quite hostile. The clans occasionally trade with outsiders, but rarely, as they often attack trespassers on sight. So, that was kind of one that was overlooked, loosely tied into the plot. If you got massive lore dumps on some nat 20s in more than one key location, just didn't come up. The very last location they didn't actually make it to is known as Durham. Many docks line the coast of Durham, as it is like the supply port into or out of the much bigger inland city of Lover's Rest. Many dockhands, sailors, boat builders, and the like call this place home and make a living here. Several taverns, inns, and scattered about to aid and accommodate the sailors. But for the most part, that was all. The every other location seemed to be thoroughly explored and then some. And so, in kind of wrapping this up, I want to just end on, I guess, kind of victories in combats, a little bit of info on what they actually did over this 32-day period. The first couple of encounters they had, first off, it was 8 marrow, followed by 15 fog mephits. And the party bested them easily, but these were kind of like at-sea encounters, as the party's kind of sailing about. On top of that, they encountered 6 lesser vampires and 6 lesser vampire thralls. Kind of a bougie battle in the city's upper district, higher end district. After that, it was on yet another island that the party encountered a froghemoth and his bullywug followers, and that ended in a lot of interesting fun for me mostly. I got to terrorize the party a little bit with these bullywugs, and not in the I'm gonna murder you kind of way. Well, I mean, there was murder, but not of the party. So aside from this froghemoth, which led to this bullywog alliance, which was really weird. The party also bested 4 fire giants, technically 6 with help, But as far as like combat mechanics goes, it was 4 fire giants and 1 fire giant dreadnought. And along with that, his 5 Azir servants. It was kind of a pretty good big bad evil guy. Pretty decent bout there. And after that, going to this very trap heavy temple that I put together. And man, I'll tell you what, they managed to get out of about half of them easily. So, but still being such a trap heavy temple, I got a handful of them on more than one occasion. It was pretty cool. But unbeknownst to me, the party actually played smart in this dungeon crawl that I had kind of presented at the end of this arc to them. And several rooms remained unexplored in this temple, like mapped but unexplored, not tinkered with, which was like probably the smart way to go about it. And I was not expecting that. I was expecting them to go full Raiders of the Lost Ark on this, but lucky for them, they lived. And yeah, so after this, in this little temple, they also slain a single mimic. There was many, but only one was slain, and a single beholder, the only kind of temple guardian, really. And encountering a few other beasties and baddies that were avoided, and even kind of outside the temple, just in the arc in general, and even doing battle with a couple of death knights for a few rounds. They held their own for a bit. But yeah, so with this kind of list of what they've accomplished, taking them from level 6 to level 9, and an additional 32 days spent in game, it's been fun. The players are still coming up with out of the box ways. Once again, I had written only about 10 encounters, and I got 21 sessions out of this situation. So it was kind of a pleasant surprise. Worked out, got when things happen like that, it's usually RP purposes. It's kind of fun watching the players kind of put 2 and 2 together and figure out what's going on. So anyway, thanks for tuning in. If you're following along, obviously